Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video, well, I'm continuing my look at classic Doctor Who, the Golden Age. Yes, brilliant, love classic Doctor Who. And this is The Trial of the Time Lord, The Ultimate Foe, from 1986. Previously, we'd had The Trial of the Time Lord, Terror of the Vervoids. And the next story will be Time and the Rani, which will be season 24, 1987, with a new Doctor. The beginning of the 7th Doctor. Anyhow, let's get back to this. So this is 2 episodes, part 13 and 14. I said it's season 23, and it is the 4th and final story. They were transmitted on the 29th of November and 6th of December 1986. Now, this story, there's a lot going on behind the scenes in this story, and I think it certainly reflects the whole of what's been going on with this trial of the Time Lord, definitely. So, let's get down to basics. The script editor is Eric Saward, and he left right just before the end. And so in a uncredited role, we have John Nathan Turner stepping in. Things were not always good in their terms of their relationship, and Eric Saward by now, I think, had had enough with what was going on, and that was it. Now, the other major point about this was that episode 13 was written by Robert Holmes, but he was very ill and died. So the episode 14, they had to bring in writers. Well, they had to find some writers, but they did bring in Pip and Jane Baker, who were able to complete the story. And they managed to do it in the best way they could, I think. Certainly there were certain restrictions as well on them. So you what can you say? You know, they did a job. So this is also directed now by Chris Clough, who, in terms of Doctor Who directing, Terror of the Vervoids, of course, 1986, part of this series. He directed that one. He was to go on and do Delta and the Bannerman, 1986. So these are all the 7th Doctor stories. Dragonfire, 1987. The Happiness Patrol, 1988. And Silver Nemesis, 1988. So that is the stories that Chris Clough was involved in directing. This series, as I say, there's so much going on behind the scenes, and Colin Baker, what can I say? He's got a job to do, and he does it, but he can't have been happy either with all this, because it didn't look good, and you get this feeling that it's not only the series that's on trial, it's him as Doctor Who. And there's a sense that I think at the end that this is the last we're going to see of Colin Baker. It's there, and that's what goes on. But to be fair to him, I think he's done the best he can. But he can only do what the script's there, and his Doctor hasn't really settled in right for so many reasons. But to be fair to him, I think, what could he do? So let's get into the cast. We've got, I say, Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor, Bonnie Langford as Mel Bush. We've got Linda Bellingham as the Inquisitor, Michael Jaston, the Valeyard, Anthony Ainley as the Master, and then we've got Tony Selby again as Sabalon Glitz. And then we've got quite a familiar face. We've got Geoffrey Hughes, who plays Popplewick. Geoffrey Hughes, really quite an amazing actor, really. Now, he did provide the voice, I like this, of Paul McCartney in the film version of Yellow Submarine, which I like. I like that. That's great. And also, he's well known for playing Eddie Yates in Coronation Street between 1974 and 1983, and he also returned in 1987. So he's a very well-known character in terms of Coronation Street. Then, Onslow in Keeping Up Appearances, which ran between 1990 and 1995. And that is, again, a really well-loved sitcom. It really is. That was absolutely... And it is superb. I can see it. It really is a really good sitcom. And then he was known for playing the part of Twiggy in The Royal Family, which ran from 1998 to 2008. In the latter sort of parts of The Royal Family that we used to get Christmas specials, that was all we got, and they kind of stopped doing the series. But I think he's right through doing these Christmas specials he was involved in. But as I say, sadly, he died. But it's great seeing him in Doctor Who. You realise how talented he was, amazing. It's just a pity that this story doesn't do what what you want it to do. You want it to end, in a real good way, and it just seems rather flat. Yeah, that is very sad. We've got James Bree, who plays Keeper of the Matrix. Now, he'd been previously in Doctor Who in the War Games 1969 and Full Circle 1980. He's also had it was in some interesting films. He was in a James Bond film on Her Majesty's Secret Service 1969. Wow, brilliant. He was in Satan's Slave, a horror film, 1976. And his last film, I think, was Without a Clue, 1988. So, brilliant. What can you say? Doctor Who attracting so many people wanted to be in Doctor Who. The locations are quite good again. Always get locations. And they used the Gladstone Pottery Museum, Longton, Staffordshire, as well as Stoke-on-Trent as well. And that, fantastic. Absolutely, again, top-notch locations. Other little bit of trivia. The final episode overran by 5 minutes. So it's a 30-minute episode, the final one. Again, it's all there, isn't it? About Doctor Who, this feeling about it. So let's just talk about what this is about. Well, it's still continuing the trial, and the evidence for the defense at an end now, and the trial nearly over. It doesn't look good for the Doctor, does it? It really doesn't look good at all. That's it. It really looks bad. But revelations come to life about these corrupt Time Lords. Yes, everything is suddenly exposed. And it is through the Master that all this comes out. We get the Master appearing, which is always exciting. And then there's a big revelation. And it is about the identity of the Valeyard. Aha! But I'm not going to say what that big revelation is, but I know quite a few of you probably know what it is. But it is a big, big revelation. And it's interesting that over the years, I hear so many of the fans saying, can't we bring the Valeyard back? I don't think that. It seems a nice idea and amongst fandom, but I think it should be left as it is in this story, really. But I can see why people want this to happen, but I think it should rest. And also, the thing is with Doctor Who, I don't think things are necessarily set in stone. And, with timelines and the way it is, the big revelation, well, that's it. That's all it is, really. I think people can buy too much into all these kind of things, because it is a series about time travel, and the Doctor has a very different journey all the time, going backwards and forwards, and things change on timelines. So nothing should ever be set in stone. So that is an outline of the story. And I feel it's a bit of a letdown, this story. And I can see why. There was all these production problems going on about the writing and what have you. And it reflects, in fact, the whole series. It's not been a good series, has it, this The Trial of the Time Lord? Doctor Who just looks like it's finished. It really does. They have kept it open, and because apparently it was going to have an even more downbeat ending, really quite almost like as if it was the end. That was it, finished. But that is left open, and that was a good thing because it did continue. It didn't get cancelled. For now. Yes. So we'd get another 3 seasons of Sylvester McCoy. So it's something. I know some people are not quite as happy with, but it's classic Doctor Who. I know I'm laughing, but we know how fans are on these things. But as this whole trial of the Time Lord has not worked, I don't think Colin Baker has been shown in a good light, unfortunately. It's not his fault. He's only doing the scripts. The love for Colin Baker's Doctor is still the same as it was before. There isn't much love at all. He's still considered, after all this, as one of the most unpopular Doctor Who's that there was. And that is sad. But that's how it is. That's how it's come across. And the blame lies with John Nathan Turner, and it lies with this what was going on with the scripts. It's quite obvious, and the BBC as well, adding that kind of pressure and uncertainty on all what was going on. I mean, it's no secret Michael Grade wanted to get rid of Doctor Who, and he must have been cheering on this, that he could see, he wanted rid of it. But there was a lot of public support. There was a massive amount of public. The fans rallied round to get it going. There was even a single Doctor in Distress released, which is talked about. The newspapers were full of it. It's still considered a national treasure, an institution. And Michael Grade couldn't get rid of it then. He couldn't. He just couldn't get rid of it. So we did get 3 more seasons. But it was almost like he thought, well, it'll just go anyhow. They put in Sylvester McCoy, I'm sure, was seen as the last Doctor. There wasn't much enthusiasm at all for him, and that was it. That they thought, well, we'll do it that way. I know I sound like a conspiracy theory, but I don't think it is a conspiracy theory. I think people were thinking that, we'll let it die like that, and the ratings won't improve. We'll fiddle around with it. That's it. But Jonathan Nathan Turner was always going to be enthusiastic for Doctor Who. He was so loved Doctor Who, he would fight for it, and he did all he could, I think. And as you'll see when I go into Sylvester McCoy, Sylvester McCoy's last season is absolutely brilliant, and it's so sad that it ended. But you could say it did end on a high, and I think that was good. But getting back to this, you just kind of now feel sorry for Colin Baker. He was kind of used as a pawn in all this. And there it was, his Doctor after this season was just in no better position at all. In fact, popularity of the show was seen as, that's it. We've had enough. I know it's so sad, but nothing was helped by what was going on behind the scenes. And I mean, the death of Robert Holmes is a major blow to Doctor Who, because he was such a great writer. Absolutely great writer. To lose him on this, wow. What can you say? But there we are. I've enjoyed watching Colin Baker. It's always interesting to see somebody like this. And I think now he's made a better reputation through Big Finish, doing all the audio work, and the Sixth Doctor is now seen as better. But if you looked at the television appearances, it doesn't look good, does it, really? But it's not his fault at all. Definitely nothing should go on Colin Baker in that. He was just doing what he did. And that's it. But, we've got more classic Doctor Who to come, so let's just plow on with it. Yes. So before I go, I always show you, this is the DVD of this story, The Ultimate Foe. There it is. Again, some nice extras. Inside, we got the disc there, nice illustration, lovely leaflet, which I always like. And I say that is from this box set, which is fantastic box set. And then this is the icing on the cake. I love this. This is Doctor Who, the collection. Look at that beautiful illustration. And great. So many brilliant extras and documentaries on here. And it's in Blu-ray. You know, it's on Blu-ray. Fantastic. And this completed the all the Colin Baker stories on Blu-ray. They're all available in these sets. Fantastic. And that's it. Yes. So, if you're new to my channel, why not subscribe? And then have a look in the playlist, and you can see all the previous reviews I've done for Doctor Who. But I do a lot of other things, a lot of films and, say, TV shows, and everything's got a sort of retro feel to it. And if you like the video, please give the video a like, because if you give this video a like, it's good for my channel. It gets it out onto YouTube. And also, if you have any comments, please put some comments down. I love to read your comments, and I'll always reply to them. So that's it. So all I've got to say is, I'll see you again.